first experimented with gamifying my kids when I learned about the crisis of engagement facing our educators. I'm not an educator, but I am an engaged parent, and I see that crisis of engagement in my household on a day-to-day basis. Chores forgotten, requests ignored. It was more than a crisis of engagement, it was a battlefield. And while sessions of Minecraft, Scrabble and Yahtzee happened all around me, the real war raged on. As I became immersed in the content and concepts of ALC 708, I had a light bulb moment. What if everything I wanted them to do around the house they could earn points for, that could be redeemed for all kinds of rewards? What if I gamified my kids?
As Deterding et al. Say, gamification is the use of game design elements in non-game contexts. Those non-game contexts can be an educational setting or, as in my example, the home. In traditional gameplay, the fun, according to Kim, is engineered by the 4 building blocks or defining characteristics of a game. That is, the goal, rules, feedback system, and voluntary participation. When I gamified my home, it was a voluntary activity. Gamification uses these same elements in order to engage participants into performing certain tasks.
Following the key principles of gamification, I created a structure that was clear and simple.
Saylor et al. Have a very interesting point to make when they link the motivational power of game design to the theory of psychological need satisfaction. They expand on this by suggesting there are 3 basic psychological needs: the need for competence, the need for autonomy, and the need for social relatedness. Applying these concepts to gamification, we can see that, as Saylor et al. Suggest, the need for competence can be addressed by points, graphs, badges, and leaderboards.
I got going that night drawing up a rough chart of things that I thought needed to be gamified: chores, behaviours, extracurricular activities, and the all-important rewards and incentives that they could earn. At first the kids were in a frenzy, earning points. My son brushed his teeth 4 times in one day to earn more points. Gamification is certainly compelling, if not addictive.
As Kim suggests, gamification succeeds in making those mundane everyday activities a little more fun and exciting by adding game-like elements such as points and badges. Saylor et al. Also identified the need for autonomy as being important in the success of gamification. They broke this into 2 elements: experiences of decision freedom and experiences of task meaningfulness. So worked with my children to determine what tasks and chores would be completed and what points could be earned and what those points could be redeemed for. Saylor et al. Also talk about the need for social relatedness. In my example of gamification, my children sometimes work together and pool their points in order to earn a higher pointed reward.
And with my kids back on deck helping around the house, I was finally able to relax and take some me time. Not really. But this method soon lost its appeal. Points went unrecorded and soon the whole system fell over.
The pencil and paper tally system required ongoing calculations to determine who was on what points, how many points they had spent, and what the balance was. As Saylor et al. Say, points provide players with granular feedback which can be directly connected to the actions of the player. This feedback is key to establishing feelings of competence and success. And when the player feels successful, they are more interested and more likely to continue participating. Where the pen and paper model failed was in that it was unable to provide immediate feedback that is required to keep participants motivated.
I discovered then that I needed something radical, something digital, to tap into in order to manage the gamification of my kids. After some trial and error, I discovered an app called Chore Monster. Due to copyright restrictions, I can't show you any screenshots, but you can visit Chore Monster at www.choremonster.com.
The children had immediate feedback through a very engaging interface that allowed them to see how many points they had earned, how many points they needed to achieve certain rewards, and to spend points when they needed to.
The beauty of Chore Monster is that it's an app on my iPhone. My smartphone is never far from reach, or in my husband's case, never out of his hand.
My experiment in gamifying my home has been a success. The children are far more likely to perform tasks that they would have rejected in the past, and they get a great sense of satisfaction as their points total increases. After a number of weeks of the Gamified Home project, the children had accrued enough points to take them on a very special excursion to an indoor trampolining centre, to mini golf, to the cinema,